Welcome to the Karrykrimp difference. This video will help familiarize you with one of the most durable, easy-to-use crimping machines available anywhere. A machine that delivers a precise, tough-gripping metal-to-metal crimp every time. No matter which Karrykrimp machine you have, they all have several characteristics in common. First, you don't have to skive the hose, that is, remove its rubber cover, to install a Karrykrimp fitting. That's because the metal teeth of the fitting penetrate the hose cover, gripping directly on the hose reinforcement. However, you do need to make sure you're using only the products found in Parker product catalogs when you use a Karrykrimp machine. The fittings, for example, are of one-piece construction and specially designed for Parker no-skive hose. Another great feature is the Karrykrimp dies. They're unitized, so there are no loose dies to mismatch or install incorrectly, and that makes them easier to handle when you pick them up in a circle. Our dies also have a unique design feature called the Park-Align system. This automatically ensures the proper positioning of the fitting in the dies for a uniform crimp time after time. And finally, you'll see the dies are color-coded according to hose size to avoid confusion and save time during setup. On your crimper, you'll find a decal. Although your decal may look slightly different, they all show which die color corresponds to which hose size. The same decal also indicates which fitting series and die ring or spacer plate to use. Either the die ring or spacer plate goes between the pusher and die set and determines the length of the downstroke and subsequently the crimp diameter. The same decal also shows you proper crimp diameters. You'll also find information about stainless steel fittings. Besides the decal on the machine, you'll find all the information you'll need in the 4400 and 4480 catalogs, as well as the technical manuals included with this machine. For example, that's where you'll find installation information and electrical requirements. Also, information on whether 12-volt, air hydraulic, hand pump, or other power units are available for your particular crimper. When it comes to operating and maintaining your Karrykrimp machine, here are 8 simple tips. Number 1. Only use the hose, fitting products, and product combinations shown in Parker catalogs. 2. Keep your dies and die bowl clean. 3. To prevent wear of the die cavity in the base plate, frequently coat it lightly with high-pressure grease. 4. Always cut hose the safe way. Wear safety glasses. Use the adjustable pins on the saw to bend the hose and reduce friction. Make sure the blade is sharp, and don't push the saw handle too hard. Let the blade do the work. 5. Before you crimp, it's important to bottom the hose in the fitting. One way to do this is to put the fitting next to the hose and put a mark on the hose that indicates the insertion depth. Or you can use the hose insertion depth listed in the catalog. If necessary, lightly lubricate the end of the hose and push the hose into the fitting until the end of the shell is even with the mark on the hose. Tip number 6. Always operate your Karrykrimp machine with its protective cover in place. 7. Always wear safety glasses when you cut and handle hose and operate crimping equipment. And 8. Become familiar with the safety guide in the Parker 4400 and 4480 hose and fitting catalogs. If you need a copy of the safety guide, call 1-800-C-PARKER and request a copy of Bulletin number 4400B1. In the next section, you'll learn more about your specific Karrykrimp machine. And if you notice something a little different, it's because we've specially painted our crimper to help in the demonstration. The crimping machine you're about to see in action is called the Karrykrimp. The Karrykrimp is capable of handling a variety of hoses, including textile, 1- and 2-wire braid hose, and SAE 100R4 suction return hose through -20 or 1 1/4 inch. It will also crimp 43 series fittings with 451 TC hose through -16 or 1 inch. In addition to this video, you'll find specification information listed in your 4400 and 4480 hose and fittings catalogs, as well as on the decal on the front of your machine. And for information on the Karrykrimp's easy setup and operation, refer to the technical manual bulletin that was included with your crimper. First, choose the type and size of hose you require for your application. Then select the proper series, size, and configuration of the fittings required for each end of the hose. Next, to determine the proper length of the hose, you first need to know the cutoff allowance of your fittings. There are two ways you can do this. One is what you see here, to measure the B dimension of each fitting. The other way is to refer to the 4400 or 4480 hose and fittings catalog using the part number on the shell for identification. Then subtract your cutoff allowances from the desired overall length of your assembly. Let's say, for example, your overall assembly length should be 64 inches. You found that one fitting's cutoff allowance is 1 inch. The other one's allowance is 1.5 inches. So you subtract the total 2.5 inches from the overall 64 inches and see that you must cut your hose to be 61.5 inches in length. The next step is to make sure you bottom the hose in the fitting. And as you remember, that means marking the hose, using a little oil if needed to make the fitting go on easier, and pushing the hose all the way up to the mark. Next, refer to the machine decal to select the right dies. Since this job calls for 1/2-inch hose, the blue dies are the right ones to use. While you're there, also check the die ring information. The decal will note whether to use the silver or black die ring for your hose assembly. First, pull the pin on the pusher for easy access to the die bowl. Then, drop the dies in the Karrykrimp's die bowl in a way that leaves the gap in front. That makes it easier to remove a bent stem fitting. Then, place the die ring on the dies. Both sides are the same, so it doesn't matter which side is up. Make sure the valve is closed on the hand pump. Now, insert the hose assembly from the bottom. Adjust it so the bottom of the fitting shell rides on the park-aligned step in the dies. Holding the hose lightly, operate the pump. Wait until the die ring is bottomed on the base. Then, to remove the hose assembly, reverse the valve on the pump. It's a good idea to check the crimp diameter for each type and size of crimp. You'll find the diameters on the decal and in the catalogs. And finally, remove any particles in the hose with compressed air and cap if necessary to avoid contamination. And that's the basics of your Karrykrimp machine. If you need more information, please refer to your technical manual. Thanks for watching, and enjoy working with the Karrykrimp difference.